Do you aspire to plating like this? As with many art forms, the best way to achieve this is to deconstruct what others do.
It turns out most chefs don't get better by plating more, they get better by seeing more. Seeing what works, what doesn't, and trying to understand why. It's the process I had to go through as a food photographer over many years trying to understand imagery. So in this first plating critique video of 2026, I'm going to be breaking down some beautiful plates of food. Not to criticise them, not to improve them, but to try and understand the decision-making process behind them. What the chef chose to lead with, but sometimes more importantly, what they left behind, and how colour, composition, spacing and restraint all work together. Because once you know what you're looking for in other people's plates, you can start seeing your own work very differently, and that's where the real improvement starts.
Alright, well, welcome to the first plating critique of 2026, and it's going to be this dish from the brilliant Mauro Colagreco and his London restaurant. It's from his tasting menu called the Forest menu, but this is certainly one when I was going through his Instagram really caught my eye. I think it's absolutely stunning. Basically, it's inspired by wonders that you can find in the British forests throughout autumn, and I think this certainly reflects in the dish itself, with the colours, because you've got some beautiful reds, some browns, you've got the blackberries here, and also just the vibrant, little bit of vibrant green as well, which really screams end of the summer, moving into autumn, something like that. To start with, I think one of the best points here is how he's mixed his styles of layout. You've got some linear stuff going that way and that way. You also have the isolated nature of the different elements here, with some lovely space in and around all the major elements. So he has cleverly decided to use two different types of layout, which is one of the fantastic things about the SLIC framework, is it's not just about restricting yourself to one or the other. You can merge two, and I think that's what he's done here brilliantly, either through intention or just because he's clearly been doing this for a very long time, so it's something he does naturally. Now, one thing I would say is actually not that clear about this dish is the hierarchy. Because all of the different elements kind of take up the same amount of space on the plate, it's quite hard to know which one he's pushing your eye towards. Now, that's not necessarily a problem, because I think he's taken the entire theme of autumn, so it's taking it as a whole. That's the theme. It's not necessarily picking out one particular ingredient. Now, if I had to be forced to pick one, I would suggest it's probably the grouse. That's clearly the most important element on that dish, but it's a little hard to actually tell that's what he's going for. Now, as you may know, one of the most powerful frameworks I like to talk about on this channel is the CRAP or CRAP framework. Now, again, you don't have to look at every single element of that: contrast, repetition, alignment and proximity. But what really strikes me here is we do have a little bit of contrast. You have a contrast between the greens and the browns and the blacks, but not a great deal, to be honest with you. You also have contrast in shape. So you've got more rounded shapes here, and then you have more lined shapes between the grouse and the way he's put the sauces on there. But I think quite possibly the strongest point of the CRAP framework would be repetition. We've got an awful lot of repetitions of shapes going this way, or this way, or this way. So there's some brilliant alignment and proximity work going on here. I love the negative space between literally all the different parts here. Nothing touches, which I think, again, shows refinement. It shows probably the level of cooking that his restaurant's going for. Something that's quite a hard thing to describe, what we're talking about here when we talk visual weight and balance. But looking at the dish here, you can see that it's not symmetrical, but you have the same amount of elements kind of on this side and on this side, which can really help with the balance of the dish. It looks like it's been thought through. He's not just put a bunch of stuff here and then hopefully it's all going to sort of come together. It's got lovely weight on both sides. But the dish feels very light. It doesn't feel, for an autumnal dish, which could be quite heavy, warming, it still feels very light and airy. And then the final thing I would say, it might seem slightly contradictory, but because there's quite a lot of stuff on this plate, is less is more. You are restricted to a very muted colour palette, which again is very autumnal. It's a very consistent scale across this dish. You'll see that most things carry the same sort of weight. Now, what can we learn from this plate? Well, I think there's quite a few interesting things we can check out. Firstly, I think let's talk about layout, how it's possible to merge two different styles. Secondly, the repetition of shape and colour. The fact that we have very similar shapes going on, as I mentioned before. The negative space works really, really well, shows that refinement, shows that class. I think one thing that could be interesting to ask ourselves when doing these critiques is, what would I change? Is it possible to remove one element of this dish and make it stronger? For me, there probably isn't a great deal. The only thing that I would possibly remove, this element right here. It might be essential for the taste, but visually it draws my eye away from the main event, which is usually going to be, the protein, the grouse. It just reflects the light a bit too much, and in photography, your eye is always drawn to what's brightest in the frame and what's in focus, and immediately that reflection on there kind of draws my eye to it and takes it away from the delicious grouse. In my mind's eye, you would maybe move around one of the blackberries, something like that, to replace that space, but just with something not quite so distracting. So come on, tell me, what do you think in the comments? Do you like this dish? Is it something that you would want to eat? I'm assuming it probably is, because it just looks fantastic. But what design changes would you make? Could you have done for a condensed layout, something like that? Anyway, let me know in the comments below, because it'd be fascinating to know what your thoughts are. Right, I'm just going to jump in for a small update on this channel. Some of you might already have seen, I sent out a 2026 survey all about this channel, trying to find out a little bit more about what you want from me. The better the data I can get from you guys, the better content and the more tailored content I can make to make this channel as useful as possible for everybody. But one of the clearest initial findings I had from the data that I've already received is that you guys wanted to see more plating deconstructions and plating critique videos, just like this one. So that's definitely something I'm going to try and do much more of on this channel, and I might even try and step in the world of live streaming. That'd be something that you'd like to support or to watch, either live or maybe a replay, something like that. Then again, let me know in the survey or just drop it in the comments. The next thing I want to talk about is just the Platist training kit. You might have seen me mention this a little bit on some community posts or in some other videos. What it is, it's an extension on the plating gym. So if you've been following the channel for a while, you've probably seen me talk about this book. The book is more theoretical. The training kit is more practical. So it's going to be full of frameworks, prompts, and worksheets. I've also designed a brand new Plate Like a Pro checklist, the one that you might have downloaded already, but this is going to be a step on from that and a much more practical guide to help you achieve more visually stunning plates. The waitlist's open, so if you want to be the first to find out about it, I've put that in the description too. Now, on a personal note, for the channel for this year, I want to improve my visual style. As somebody that talks to you about improving your visual style, it's something that I feel I should be doing too. Not just in how the video looked, but how I deliver them to you. It's something that I find really difficult, and I want to try and get a little bit more off teleprompter. So you'll be seeing probably a lot more ers and ums, things like that. Something that I really want to get better at. Certainly if I'm going to be doing live streams. But more than that, I just want to get out of this studio as well. You might not be able to tell, but it's an incredibly small space and I spend a lot of time in it. So getting into nature pops in a more vlog style of what I'm doing in my day-to-day professional life. Not necessarily to talk about that, but just the visuals to show more of what I do could be quite interesting. You might have also noticed already in this video, I've got some drone footage, so I got that over Christmas, so really excited to try and use that. So basically the education will still be there, but I wanted to tell it in a more visually engaging way that is more interesting for me to film and hopefully for you to watch.
So, if there's just one thing I want you to take from this video today, is that great plating is not just copying what the professionals do. It's about understanding how every plate we've seen today is about making deliberate and intentional choices. It's about focus, it's about balance, and it's about what matters most, and more importantly, in fact, what didn't. When you're plating at home or in a kitchen, or staring at a plate wondering what to do next, instead of asking, what can I add? Try asking, what is this plate trying to say? Because once you learn to see plates this way, you stop guessing and you start designing.